What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Heroes for Hire podcast. This is Hero Zero. This is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined as always by my best man, Mr. Shaun. Me and Shaun, how's it going?
Good. I was running through bits in my head, and the only thing that came to mind was sing the intro, but that's not happening. So this is all you get, folks.
I love when you describe your bit-making process.
It's kind of a flat pack joke, you know. You can put it together yourself.
Just give me the bits. Just give me the words. I'll put the sentence together. Don't you worry, brother.
Yeah, it is a two-way street listening to a podcast.
What's the deal with phone books these days? Figure it out yourselves.
You still getting phone books? What's I don't understand.
I'm just giving people just ingredients. It's up to them to give me the punchline.
Oh, okay. Chicken, road. Do something with that.
No,
there's no joke there.
Just nothing there. I'm not a fucking magician, Shaun. So, as I said, this is Hero Zero. This is the show where we choose one comic book character. I talk DC characters, and Shaun, he normally talks Marvel characters. Now, we have a bit of a secret in that I'm actually technically not here to record this, if that makes sense.
We're just letting that out, are we? Okay.
We can just let it out. I mean, it's going to be a weird kind of release schedule over the next few weeks.
And why aren't you here, Conor? And how am I talking to you right now?
Well, we're talking right now through the power of, time. Time travel, if you will. But I am currently out of the country in a different place called Japan, which is far away from Ireland, apparently.
Interesting. Yes, I was wondering why you weren't answering my texts in a prompt manner.
You just keep coming out to my house knocking to see if I can play football.
I'm looking in the windows and shit.
So I am currently away, so we are kind of having a few batch recordings to try and get everything done. With that, we'll also have like a Q&A as well, hopefully going to be coming out, or if it has come out, not quite sure when this comes out. Anyway,
we're turned around in some schedules right now, I'll be honest.
But Shaun, I decided, because of the week that's in it, I've been on a bit of a roll recently in terms of characters that started shit, then got slightly good through different...
I would argue that's most of the comics industry, but continue.
Oh, this is good. So, I mean, what happens then is a good writer might come in and change some things around.
You get a Grant Morrison every now and again.
You just get a Grant Morrison. That seems like a bold strategy that everyone should try.
A Brian Michael Bendis, perhaps. A Jonathan Hickman.
So if you have a favourite comic book character, I will say, send it in to us. If we haven't done one, we've done hundreds of these Hero Zeros. So if you want to hear a report on maybe a character maybe you've heard of but you don't really know a lot about, we're very happy to talk people through their origins and what they're all about. If you could also give us, if this is your first episode, you don't have to do anything, but if it's your second or above, we'd really appreciate 5 stars, a like, a follow, a share, whatever way you want to support the show. 5 stars on Spotify before June is apparently the goal.
No, not before June, Conor. Come on.
Sorry.
Before the summer solstice.
Summer solstice, of
course. We've been through this.
Sorry. Before the summer solstice, we're looking for 150 5-star reviews over on Spotify. So if you haven't given us a review, that would be really, really great. But Shaun, enough of all that stuff. Other than the Patreon, extra content over there, we're not going to get to it. So, Shaun, we're going to cover this week a character that kind of describes a lot of the episodes of this podcast. He's called Major Disaster.
Oh, Conor. I declare that the jape of the season.
I love a good jape. So I'm going to be covering a character called Major Disaster, otherwise known as Paul Booker. Creators are Gardner Fox and Gil Kane, and his first appearance was in March of 1966. So
fine time.
He's been around a long time, but used very sparingly for the first, maybe 30 to 20 years of his creation.
Interesting. Brought in as a joke and then the 90s happened is what I'm seeing.
Early 2000s, but yes. Okay. So technically Major Disaster first appeared in Green Lantern number 43 in 1966. But the character introduced here would go through quite the evolution over the years. So originally he's fairly by the numbers Gardner Fox villain in terms of like villain of the week. He's a career criminal, planning bank robberies, and he would create natural disasters as distractions for the heroes while doing the crimes.
He's got Roland Emmerich powers. Fantastic.
What a niche joke. He's got the old day after tomorrow superpowers.
He's got a bit of moonfall on him.
Oh, he's got 2012 powers.
He's got other things in his filmography.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
So look, he makes natural disasters, and while everyone's trying to deal with that, he goes and robs a bank, which you might think is low scale, but I suppose fine. So he started out as nothing more than a cheap crook. He's on the run from the police. He found an unlocked apartment window and he climbed in to hide. Unbeknownst to him, it belonged to Thomas Kalmaku, who was Green Lantern's former friend and confidant at the time. Okay. Accidentally activating a hidden control panel, he discovers an entire casebook on Green Lantern and all of the information based off secret identities and all of, I call it the Batman and Robin 1997 stumbles upon the whole Batcave.
Yes, accidentally learns all of the information at once.
So using this, he finds out the secret identities of both Green Lantern and the Flash in 1966.
Not great, I would say. Why would you keep those both together?
So armed with this knowledge, he decides to embark on a criminal career under the name of Major Disaster, and he hires a group of criminal scientists to create devices for him capable of causing natural disasters. Using his new powers, go on.
So he came up with the name first, and then...
Name first. Worked backwards.
He was just like, I think making disasters would be a great move.
I think I could call myself Massive Shithead, but I'm going to go Major Disaster.
Wild. So, I love the hustle.
So he has no powers as of this point, but he has people that make him devices that create, I don't know, natural disasters of some sort.
Yeah, vague enough in the 60s that I like. It
very
shakes
vague.
The earth a certain way.
Yeah, it's not. It's never really explained. It's very just by the numbers of he's causing disasters. There's fucking loads of water over there. Don't ask how.
I'm thinking of Doc Seismic from Invincible in my head.
Yeah, very similar to that. So it also protected him from any disaster he created.
Convenient.
So. It is convenient. However, he was immediately defeated when Green Lantern showed up. And after his defeat, Green Lantern used his ring to erase the memory of the Flash's secret identity and placed a mental block stopping him from telling anyone else Lantern's own identity. So,
not erase
the ring.
Both?
You might say that seems logical, but how are we going to get any more plot lines?
It's true. What, this isn't a one and done character?
They wanted to leave the door open just in case. So to tell you the truth, Paul Booker was a crap villain. Right? He called himself Major Disaster. His costume is terrible. He's got pink go-go boots on, a blue bodysuit, and a light blue hoodie that he wears.
Sounds like a fit to me.
It's not a good fit. He doesn't look very great. And like lots of villains in the era, he would bounce around, make minor appearances here and there, but he was kind of just a generic baddie that showed up and got the shit kicked out of him and then went home.
You need that in the 60s, though.
You do. So in the 80s, however, during the J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen, who we covered a few weeks ago,
yes.
Keith Giffen Justice League group, they basically were writing the Justice League at the time. So J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen, and they wanted to create a group of C and D level supervillains that would come together as the Injustice League in a sort of comedy kind of thing. It was played for laughs.
It's a bit of fun, yeah.
And Major Disaster was the leader of the team, and he was depicted as fairly traditional megalomaniac, evil mastermind idiot most of the time.
That's fun, though. I like that kind of portrayal of some villains. It's just like, he's just a dick.
By the way, some of their stories are great. I'm going to cover them here because they actually are quite funny. So he's in prison and he meets a guy called the Mighty Bruce, who's a computer wizard who steals money from huge corporations to give to charity. Shaun, Good stuff,
Okay.
Mighty Bruce.
Pretty good.
Let's hear him out, guys. So the Mighty Bruce suddenly seems vital to Disaster's future plans, the Injustice League, and he sets it up once he gets out. The team consists of himself, the Mighty Bruce, Multi-Man, Clue Master, Big Sir, and Clock King.
Talked about a couple of those before.
It's a group of idiots. So
Yeah.
Disaster and the League came into this possession of a Tangarian warship at one point, left over from a recent alien invasion of Earth, and they planned to use the weapons on board to attack the Justice League. So to just find a spaceship.
And this will go fine, I'm sure. In their head, this is the greatest idea anyone's ever had.
I like how the plan is attack the Justice League. Step 1, attack them. Step 2, profit. Because if they attack, that does mean Superman then will come attack them.
Yeah. They haven't thought that. It's like when D-list villains in Marvel try and reform the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
It's like you then have to fight Spider-Man. You realise
because the situation, you might get one rocket that hits the Justice League tower, but then Superman will have to punch Clock King. And I think Superman will win.
999 times out of 1,000.
I would say 10 times out of 10. Unless his clock is made of kryptonite, and even then, I think normal level Superman, just as a man, might be able to knock out Clock King.
Just a regular strong man.
Just a regular man. Unfortunately for them, Guy Gardner was actually flying around space nearby, fixing up his own ship, and he intercepted their radio transmission. He met the ship and tore the craft into pieces and took the Injustice League into custody immediately.
I thought you were going to say he just killed them all.
No. So once free, the League then decided, this is the Injustice League, that their criminal career would be easier in Europe. So they travelled to Paris to set up base.
Jesus. Just a drag on Europe.
Unfortunately, the Justice League Europe branch had just opened its doors.
Guys, what are we doing? Read the newspapers.
And the League found themselves in the same French for beginners class as the Justice League of Europe.
That's so fucking dumb. I love it.
Oh, it's so funny. They were quickly deported from France and sent back to America because they were immediately defeated. Their next mission involved breaking into the bank at a club casino on the island of Kui. Whilst this operation was a success, so they got away with the money, they were unable to spend their winnings as the island started to drift into the ocean while they were still on the island.
What? It just started floating away.
Major disasters there. He's using all of his powers. And the island started drifting away. I
forgot he had powers for a minute.
Well, he doesn't have powers. He has different devices. However, the JLA are nearby, and they basically asked them for help. The Justice League.
Guys, we're sorry.
So they recruit the JLA, and Major Disaster helps to avoid the ensuing geological and tectonic chaos by assisting Aquaman in anchoring the island to an underground volcano and working with him to save everyone.
It's such insane technology to still be a D-list villain. You know? You should be taking over the world with this.
He then chose to stay and face justice rather than flee, despite having the opportunity.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh. The beginnings of the changes to this character happened, however, during the 90s series Underworld Unleashed, where lots of villains, now this is a long shot, Shaun, you're going to have to stick with me. There's a big storyline in Underworld Unleashed, where a lot of villains, mostly D and C-list villains, get sent to hell. And they then have a choice. They sell their soul for power upgrades. So they sell their soul to the devil, they get power upgrades. Major Disaster was given actual powers, meaning he didn't have to use his poorly defined technology anymore.
Which is good move for the character. It's the temptation of power. Great move for the writers. He can just do it now.
Now he can just do it, okay? And so, he now had at least impressive powers, even though he was kind of still fairly shit. But, attempting to go legit, the Injustice League were given one chance by Maxwell Lord in the comic book. So Maxwell Lord is set up the Justice League and he's really involved with that. He gives the Injustice League, because they're so shit, the Justice League don't really see them as a threat.
Yeah.
So they give them a chance. And they say, you can become the JLA, the Justice League of Antarctica, right?
Okay, pretty good, guys.
So they are sent to Antarctica as the Justice League. So with a lot of the other nuisance characters who were just annoying but a bit shit and never going to cause any harm.
So it's just to put them out of the way, basically.
Yeah. The team, however, was short-lived as disaster destroyed their embassy whilst defeating a waddle of killer penguins at one point.
We talked on Weird News about a post office in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I feel that's shockingly how it would go if I was there.
They were all there, and I think there was a waddle of killer penguins, and Major Disaster used all of his powers that he now has and blew up the entire embassy. Yeah.
I mean, it solves the penguin problem.
But they were good, technically. So he's flipping between face and heel, good and bad at this point.
Anti-hero.
It's an anti-hero. Following this, the group returned to crime and they attempted to steal from the cult of Minister's son, only to have their loot stolen back from them almost immediately. So, then he gets offered his big break. The Suicide Squad shot. Well, his big break was Justice League Antarctica.
Yeah.
But his second big break
is the one where if you fuck up, you die.
So he's now sent to the Suicide Squad. They receive an offer. The whole of Justice League received this offer, mostly because they're you can dispose of them pretty easily, and it's fine. Major Disaster agrees, and he even volunteers Multiman against his will to join them.
Yeah, he's great.
He's loving it. They were sent to a small island off the coast of Iceland to deal with a terrorist situation and an out-of-control genetic experiment. The usual Suicide Squad stuff. Multiman was shot through the head almost immediately after he arrives. Unfortunately, Clock King, who has no powers either, was also shot repeatedly upon landing on the island.
And look, that's what I signed up for, you know?
In the resulting chaos, Major Disaster perceived that Cluemaster saved his life at least twice before also being shot dead. So, Disaster stayed with the squad. He survived, stayed with them the whole way through until Superman gave him a chance to prove his heroic worth at one stage in defeating a number of Superman's foes. So Superman kind of comes in and is like, you have something about you, right, at this point. And the biggest change for the character came about because of one guy in the world. So Major Disaster is just a kind of generic run-of-the-mill villain, hero-villain kind of thing. D-list. Joe Kelly is the comic book writer that comes along in the early 2000s run on Superman. So he's working on Action Comics. And his run is better remembered for, I would say, there's an issue called What's So Funny about truth, justice, and the American way, which is a Superman. It's really famous. It's widely considered one of the best Superman comics ever written.
Interesting. Okay, I've heard that phrase for sure. Yeah,
but his run is actually loaded with incredible issues that dive deep into the idea of what makes Superman great. And one such issue is an episode called The Gift. Or an issue called The Gift, right? Mm-hmm. So the issue intercuts images of Superman engaging in 4 separate fights with 4 different supervillains using 2 parallel narrations. So one is a story written by Clarke Kent describing a lesson he learned from his father about how important it is to give people a second chance, even when they don't deserve it. The other is Superman talking to someone, basically calling them out on the pointlessness of using their superpowers for destruction when they could be making a difference, pointing out that someday they're going to die and they would be nothing when they could be so much more when they actually pass away. It's like one of the best comics ever. It's so good.
Perfect for Superman as well. Of just do anyone can make a difference is his whole deal.
Exactly. So it's made clear that this is a chance for redemption that he's offering to all 4 of the different villains. And so it's said, like, every time Superman battles someone, he gives them the chance of redemption. Because he's so powerful, like, it means nothing to him.
Yeah. He'll happily give someone a second chance because he can just stop them again.
Exactly. But every time, over and over again in the issue, his offer is rejected. He keeps offering it though, because giving someone a chance is always worth it to Superman. So he always offers it. And in the end, one of them finally does. Major Disaster takes him up on his offer.
My boy.
Right? And actually, Joe Kelly kind of follows up through with this. He builds a replacement team in his run on the JLA, and he adds Booker to it. And he has Booker join the JLA for the entire run that Kelly's working there. And then he even lets him join a team called the Justice League Elite, which he joins later on. I'll get into that now in a second. So Booker's face turn for the JLA was more of a, I'm good now. Right? That was kind of how it's done. Like, it's just, he's good.
Yeah. Everybody, I'm here now. I'm on your side.
It's not a gradual shift. It's mostly just overnight. He's now turned to the side of good.
He never seemed that dedicated to the villain life, though, either.
No, he's not really dedicated to either way. And I think there's a certain point where he kind of, even when he's a good guy, he's also just kind of, he's just trying to do his best, but also he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
He could theoretically prevent disasters or come up with new ways to research them. The problem is, Major Disaster is a very selfish person. He decides to look out for number one first and foremost, so he ends up a crap villain for most of his run because he's so selfish. He's had tastes of the good life, obviously during the Suicide Squad and the Justice League Antarctica, but he never hit the big times until the JLA accepted him. And this is one of those interesting things where Batman follows Disaster's career. And there's an issue where Batman says to him that he would like him to join the Justice League of America as a substitute member, because the regular members had a different storyline where they were going back in time to Atlantis, right? There's this whole thing, right?
Right.
So the team's going to be off the grid, and they need substitute people.
Bodies.
You need bodies, right? The rest of the team currently, the other substitutes that were brought in were Nightwing, Green Arrow, Atom, Hawkgirl, Fate, Firestorm, Jason Blood, and now Major Disaster is chosen. And Batman says, I've followed your career, you've done lots of bad shit, but you also could do good. You're also super powerful.
Yeah, you have the potential to do great things. You can control Earth, basically.
Finally acting as a hero and receiving some respect for the first time in his career, Disaster jumps at the chance and he remains with the team following the return of the original Justice League. So they come back and he's still part of their substitute team to be like, yeah, I love it. This is wild. He brings an interesting dynamic to the team for a couple of reasons. One, he's a reformed villain, so like he just kind of has a different way of thinking than anyone else.
Yeah. He like a lot of the League and a lot of like superheroes in general come from a very kind of privileged perspective, I guess, where like they only see and do good things.
Yeah, exactly. So like he doesn't look at things like the other heroes do. He's very to the point, man of action type. So if there's like an easy solution that solves the problem, if it means killing someone, he's like, why don't we just kill that guy?
Yeah.
Like, it's way easier.
Like, no!
He's also, unfortunately, he's a big, massive idiot. And I mean that just as he's incredibly selfish. He's a very, very flawed human being, but he's also just like a moron. He doesn't say exactly what's on his mind because he doesn't really think. His brain isn't just connected to his mouth. It's just like not connected, full stop. To anything.
He's just purely on instinct, basically, is how he's operating.
Yeah. He's like the big jock that's like just, he's not really good, right? And so he's part of the team for a little bit, and then he actually gets moved to a different Justice League called the Justice League Elite, which is a covert ops arm of the Justice League. So he gets sent in there. I don't know how he ends up in that team, I'll be honest with you.
He's probably super useful, but he can't be cutting the ribbon at a fucking ceremony or something like that.
I suppose, yeah. So when the elite gets together, they're masterminded by a character called Naif Al-Sheikh, who is best described as kind of like a chain-smoking Amanda Waller, a little bit. He's got crazy black ops and like intelligence clout, so like whenever the JLE want to get in somewhere, his word kind of gets them in. And a really good example of how Major Disaster does not fit in with the group is Naif Al-Sheikh sees like these superheroes as like they terrify him. Like this team is like meant to be like special ops. These are the elite of the Justice League, right? They terrify him. So he wants them to share a secret so that they can begin to build a trust. And he wants them to explain why they fight for the light from the shadows. And he asks Booker this. And of course, he's like, this is really dumb. Can I just go kick the shit out of some bad guys, sir?
He's just been pointed in that direction at the minute, basically.
He's the muscle, right? He doesn't have any time for anything else. So this is kind of where his life kind of very much it was falling apart, but it falls apart finally in the JLE series as it reveals he's very much an alcoholic over all the shit stuff that's gone on, and he's very, very psychologically damaged over a lot of the stuff that's happened.
He hasn't handled his 40 years of...
He doesn't have emotional maturity due to the fact of being an idiot.
Yes. Look, I've been there myself, you know.
Yeah. So later, while fighting with the Justice Society of America, Booker uses his powers while hungover, resulting in Hawkgirl being severely injured. And later on, he and the non-undercover elite go on a rescue mission for the rest of their team. Things go south when the man they're chasing drops a few bombs behind him, like techno bombs or whatever. Booker boasts a little about easily being able to short-circuit the bombs when his own power cuts out. He's too drunk to use his powers.
Fuck.
Yeah, resulting in the death of his teammate, Manitou Raven, who's not Teen Titans Raven, different Raven.
Right.
But the bombs go off and his teammate is killed.
And it's objectively his fault.
Yes. So at the end of the Justice League Elite series, he resigns from the league and he asks them to wait a few months before sending any visitors in capes. And this is actually his redemption story, because it gets really fucking dark and you see him like fall into like the darkest hole ever of being not being able to like he's not being able to process everything that's going on. Also, his whole team got killed by that in the Suicide Squad as well. Like all his friends.
He's been through a lot, and he wasn't dealing well with what he had already been through, and then it all culminated in that accident.
Yeah, and it's also a really good redemption story, because your newly minted hero, he doesn't have an existential angst over being a hero. He also doesn't make any ultimate sacrifice. His redemption kind of comes not at the hands of anybody else, but just he sits there and he has to get over his own guilt that he's been harbouring and deal with his problems. That's actually how the issues end, where he like makes the choice where he's going to start working on himself. So he has like a character growth moment.
That's very, again, I've said this on a couple of your reports, it's a very real moment. Like, I don't think you just come up with that. I think that's from experience.
You have to get a character through that point, and it has to like build. There's lots of different layers.
Yeah,
to get
and you can't
there.
That wouldn't work with a character you just introduced last episode. They need a bit of history about them.
So in terms of powers and abilities, so we have powers. Probability of chaos alteration. His powers originally come from a set of weapons he uses. Over time, it's said that exposure to the weapons made the powers internalised, but also he went to the devil, and whatever retcon you want to do it. Either way, he ends up with the powers himself.
He can do it now.
Yeah. He's able to strands of chaos around him. The disasters he can now control theoretically range from being able to command asteroid showers without breaking a sweat to causing heart attacks, nosebleeds, even making people trip up. He appears to have no real limitations, though he lacks any fine control. He has devised a force field for himself. He uses powers to redirect attacks, though he seems not to use it that much. He's adept at creating chaos. It does take him great effort to stop disasters, though. It takes a much more effort to stop things than it does to create things.
Well, isn't that always the way, Conor?
Isn't it, Shaun? It's a metaphor. He's got flight, he's got a force field, he's got superhuman strength. His weaknesses, alcoholism, most of the time.
That'll do.
And that is kind of his only weakness, is alcoholism.
Outside of that, he's basically unkillable.
Basically, other than being like kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
And but it's a character that was a nothing character, and just that genuinely one issue with Joe Kelly kind of coming in on the 2000 run on Action Comics, and he just takes this character that's nothing and introduces him in this really famous Superman storyline of like Superman offers him a chance to change, and he takes it.
He's the one dude that takes it.
He's the one dude that takes it, and even if he's not good, he tries his best.
It's a really nice message for such a dumb character.
Yeah. So I mean, Shaun, that is my report on Major Disaster.
Very well done, Conor.
Thank you. Do you want to take us out?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday probably with something. And next Friday there will be a Hero or Zero, depending on recordings and such.
Look, we're making this up as we go along.
Yeah,
right? But there probably will be an episode. If you just check your podcast app, there's probably something come up.
And if there's not, look, chill out. It'll be back. Don't worry about it.
We're trying our best.
No, but thank you all for your support. We really couldn't do it without all of you. And there is the Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Those are the biggest supporters, and they help us keep making the show, so thank you very much. There's also the merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter's @HeroesForHirePod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
And I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun.
I shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.